The startup incubator hummed with activity as I reviewed our latest financial projections. 3 years of 18-hour days had transformed Nova Technologies from a cute hobby into a silent giant, though my family didn't know that yet. Miss Chen. My assistant Michael appeared with coffee. The family dinner reminder. Your mother called twice. I glanced at the Bloomberg terminal showing Nova's private valuation, $8.9 billion. If only they knew. Did she mention if Jessica's coming? I asked, referring to my older sister, the business genius of the family. Yes. Apparently, she has big news about Chen Industries' expansion. Of course she did. As Dad's chosen successor, Jessica never missed a chance to showcase her corporate achievements. The family dinner was at our usual spot, an upscale Chinese restaurant where Mom could simultaneously show off her daughters and criticize our life choices. I arrived intentionally late, wearing my standard startup uniform of jeans and a black turtleneck. Emma, darling, Mom sighed, couldn't you dress properly? Your sister just closed a $100 million deal. Jessica sat radiating success in her Chanel suit. It's fine, Mom. Not everyone is cut out for real business. If they only knew about the acquisition papers sitting in my bag, documents that would make Jessica's big deal look like pocket change. How's your little tech project? Dad asked between bites of Peking duck. Growing, I said simply. She's still playing with that app thing, Jessica informed them. While Chen Industries is expanding into international markets. Mom patted my hand. Honey, maybe it's time to consider joining the family business. In a smaller role, of course. Something more suitable. My phone buzzed, a message from our lead counsel. Acquisition approval confirmed. Ready when you are. Actually, I said, pulling out my laptop, I wanted to discuss something about Chen Industries. We've been over this, Dad sighed. The succession is set. Jessica will dash. Jessica will what? I opened the acquisition documents. Run a company that's about to be acquired? The table fell silent. What are you talking about? Jessica demanded. I turned the laptop to show them the Bloomberg terminal. Nova Technologies' true holdings appeared on screen, including our majority stake in Chen Industries' biggest competitors. That's impossible, Dad stammered. Those companies aren't for sale. They were. I pulled up more documents. To a private tech consortium that happens to be a subsidiary of Nova Technologies. My little tech project. Mom's wine glass froze halfway to her lips. Your app company? Nova Technologies isn't an app company, I explained calmly. That was just our public face. We're actually one of the largest private tech conglomerates in Asia. And tomorrow we're announcing our acquisition of Chen Industries. Jessica laughed sharply. This is absurd. Chen Industries isn't for sale. Actually, I pulled out another document. The board voted this morning. They accepted Nova's offer of $15 billion, triple your current market value. Dad's chopsticks clattered to the table. The board couldn't. They already did. I opened my stock portfolio app. I've been quietly buying shares through shell companies for the past 2 years. As of 9 a.m. today, Nova Technologies controls 43% of Chen Industries' voting stock. But that's impossible, Jessica protested. I track all major shareholders. Do you track Summit Ventures? Or Pacific Ridge Capital? Or Golden Gate Holdings? I watched recognition dawn on their faces. All Nova subsidiaries. All small shareholders you dismissed as irrelevant. Mom's perfectly maintained composure cracked. Emma, what have you done? Built something bigger than anyone imagined. I pulled up Nova's complete portfolio on my laptop. While you were focused on Chen Industries' $100 million deals, I was building a tech empire worth $75 billion. The restaurant's private room fell silent except for the soft hum of my laptop displaying company after company that Nova had quietly acquired. Those breakthrough semiconductors Chen Industries wanted? I continued. We developed them last year. The AI systems you're trying to license? We own the patents. The Asian markets you're struggling to enter? We control the distribution networks. Why? Dad's voice was barely a whisper. Because you never looked past the surface. I pulled out a folder containing my original business plan, the one Jessica had laughed at 3 years ago. You saw a little tech project, and decided I wasn't worth taking seriously. Jessica grabbed the folder, flipping through pages of strategic acquisitions, technological innovations, and market analyses that made her corporate expansion look like a child's business plan. Tomorrow's Wall Street Journal, I slid across the advance copy our PR team had secured, will announce Nova Technologies' public offering. Expected valuation, $120 billion. Mom reached for the paper with trembling hands. The headline read, Tech's hidden giant emerges. Nova Technologies IPO set to create youngest female billionaire. The board meeting is at 9 a.m., I said standing. As Chen Industries' new owner, I'll expect full cooperation with the transition team. You can't just take over Jessica started. I already have. I gathered my things. Oh, and Jessica? About that $100 million deal you just closed? I'm canceling it. The technology's obsolete compared to what Nova developed 6 months ago. Dad finally found his voice. Emma, please. We can discuss this. Like you discussed my future? I smiled slightly. Or like you discussed my suitable role in the company? My phone buzzed again, the IPO underwriters confirming tomorrow's announcement. Everything was in place. The car's waiting, I said, pulling on my coat. I have a board meeting to prepare for. Michael will send you the details for tomorrow's transition briefing. As I reached the door, Mom called out, Emma, we're your family. I turned back one last time. Yes, you are. And tomorrow you'll be my employees. The restaurant door closed behind me as I stepped into the cool evening air. My driver held open the car door and I slid into the back seat where Michael waited with updated acquisition reports. How did they take it? He asked. I looked back at the restaurant where my family still sat, their world turned upside down by the daughter they'd underestimated. They're about to learn, I said, opening my laptop to review tomorrow's board presentation, that sometimes the smallest projects become the biggest revolutions. The morning sun glinted off Chen Industries headquarters as my car pulled into the CEO parking spot, my father's space until exactly 1 hour ago. News vans lined the street, their satellite dishes reaching skyward like mechanical flowers hungry for the day's biggest story. Nova Technologies stock opened at $350, Michael reported as we walked through the lobby. We're trending on every financial network. The security guards, already wearing Nova Technologies badges, nodded respectfully. Good morning, Ms. Chen. The executive floor was chaos. Board members huddled in corners, whispering urgently. Middle managers clutched printouts of the Wall Street Journal article, their faces pale. And there, outside the boardroom, stood Jessica, still in yesterday's Chanel suit. You spent the night here, I observed, trying to find a way to stop this. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide her exhaustion. There has to be a legal challenge. Already cleared by 3 law firms. I gestured to the boardroom. Shall we? Inside, the board members sat like arranged mourners at a corporate funeral. Dad occupied the CEO's chair, though not for long. Mom sat in the observers section, her usual social confidence shattered. Let's begin, I said, taking my place at the head of the table. First order of business. Leadership transition. Now wait just a minute, Gerald Thompson, Dad's oldest friend on the board, protested. We agreed to the acquisition but the terms were clear. I nodded to my legal team who distributed documents. Nova Technologies assumes immediate operational control. All current executive positions are terminated, effective immediately. Dad stood slowly. Emma, please. 30 years I've built this company into a regional player content with modest growth, I finished. While the tech industry revolutionized around you. I pulled up Nova's portfolio on the presentation screen. This is what real innovation looks like. The screen's filled with Nova's achievements. Quantum computing breakthroughs, AI systems that made Chen's look prehistoric, renewable energy technologies that would reshape industries. Your semiconductor division? I continued. 5 years behind our current tech. Your AI research. We surpassed it 3 years ago. The Asian expansion Jessica's so proud of? We've owned those markets since before she even conceived her strategy. Jessica flinched. But we can help, Dad insisted. With our experience. Your experience is the problem. I clicked to the next slide, showing Chen Industries' declining market share. While you were maintaining the status quo, protecting old relationships, and planning to hand the company to Jessica based on birthright rather than merit, the industry changed. You just didn't notice. Mom stood up. Emma, this vendetta dash. This isn't about revenge, I cut in. It's about transformation. I revealed Nova's integration plan. Chen Industries will be completely restructured. Old technologies retired. Research redirected. Management replaced with leaders who understand modern tech. And us? Jessica asked quietly. You'll receive fair compensation for your shares. I smiled slightly. Consider it an expensive lesson in underestimating the wrong person. The doors opened as Nova's transition team entered brilliant young executives I'd recruited from top tech firms. They made Jessica's corporate experience look like a high school business class. Meet your new management team, I announced. Selected for vision and ability, not family connections or country club memberships. Dad sank back into his chair, decades of corporate authority evaporating in minutes. The press conference is in 1 hour, I continued. Nova Technologies will announce our complete restructuring of Chen Industries. Your resignations will be portrayed as a mutual decision to facilitate modernization. And if we refuse? Jessica challenged. I pulled up one final document. Then I released the audit showing how your impressive expansion was built on outdated technology and inflated projections. Your choice. The room fell silent except for the soft hum of computers displaying the future that would replace everything my family had built. Why this way? Dad asked finally. Why not come to us first? Would you have listened? I turned to face him directly. 3 years ago I brought you my initial business plan. You laughed and told me to start smaller. Mom suggested I focus on social media because girls understand that better. Jessica said I'd never grasp real corporate strategy. I walked to the window looking down at the news vans below. So I built something so big you couldn't ignore it. Something that would force you to see past your own assumptions. My phone buzzed. Nova's stock had jumped another 15% on acquisition news. The papers are ready, Michael announced. I turned back to the board. Time to sign. Unless anyone wants to explain to the shareholders why they rejected a 300% premium on their shares. One by one, they signed, each signature transferring another piece of Chen Industries to Nova's control. Dad's pen hesitated longest over the page, 30 years of history ending in a single stroke. Clear out your offices by end of day, I instructed. The transition team needs to begin immediately. As they filed out, Jessica paused at the door. I never imagined you could. That was your mistake, I said simply. You were so busy protecting your position you never saw the real threat. Not from competitors, not from market changes, but from the sister you dismissed as a dreamer. The room emptied except for Mom, still clutching her designer handbag like a shield. The charity boards, she said quietly, high positions, will be informed of your resignation this afternoon. I pressed a button and the screens filled with Nova's global initiatives. We'll be replacing social philanthropy with actual innovation. Real changes, not cocktail party promises. 3 months after the takeover, I stood in my new office, the entire top floor of what was now Nova Tower. The city skyline stretched before me, each glittering building a reminder of how far I'd come from that little tech project. Miss Chen. Michael entered with the morning briefings. The quarterly numbers are in. And, your family's here. I turned from the window. All of them. Your parents, Jessica, and the former board members who still hold minor shares. They've reviewed the restructuring results. Of course they had. 3 months of watching their old company transform into something unrecognizable had been a harsh education. Send them up, I said, straightening my suit. Time to show them real innovation. They entered looking smaller than before. Dad had lost his stride, Mom her charm, and Jessica couldn't meet my eyes. The numbers, the CFO said, handing me a report. I opened it. Chen Industries, now Nova's tech division, grew 300% in 1 quarter. Value jumped from $5 billion to $45 billion. That's what innovation does. You've made your point, Emma, Dad said quietly. Have I? I pressed a button. The walls showed our global operations. While you clung to old markets, I built new ones. While Jessica cheered $1 million deals, I revolutionized industries. Mom stepped forward. Surely we can still have some role. Yes, I said. But based on ability, not family. I pulled up charts. Nova is expanding. Quantum computing, AI centers, renewable energy. Your old tech is already obsolete. Jessica asked, and you want our help? No. I want you to understand why you're being left behind. I assigned their roles. Dad, legacy systems consultant. Reporting to someone half your age. Mom, government relations. Jessica, phase out obsolete tech. Learn why good enough fails. You're burying us, Dad protested. No. I'm giving you what you earned, I replied. So far, your results are disappointing. My phone buzzed. New contracts, new breakthroughs. Show them the neural interface lab, I ordered. The screens lit up with brain-computer links. This is impossible, Jessica whispered. No. This is the future. While you fought for titles, I built it. Mom slumped. Our reputation. Now it's defined by innovation, not inheritance, I said. Dad tried again. You've destroyed everything. I replaced what you couldn't improve, I cut in. Nova's stock flashed, 10 times higher than Chen Industries' best. Your legacy isn't destroyed. It's surpassed by me. Michael brought in new contracts. Standard terms. No family perks. Sign or leave. One by one they signed. Each stroke was surrender. The future waits for no one, I said. Not tradition. Not inheritance. They left. I turned back to the skyline where crews expanded Nova Tower. Michael, I said, bring the quantum team. Let's show the world what happens when you dream bigger than anyone believes. The sun rose, casting my shadow across the empire. The daughter they mocked hadn't just proved them wrong. She'd made them obsolete,